Hello, and welcome to N3WS News. I'm Logan McClary, this is Ireland Small, Tristan Heinemeyer, and Mary Delaney. For this program, we're going to be going over to cover the Korean War, Vietnam War, and information about the USSR and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Today I'm going to catch you up a little on the Korean War, which is a big conflict between North Korea and South Korea, in which after the war, North Korea and South Korea needed to safely transmit information between one another. So they have made what is called the Demilitarized Zone, the DMZ for short, which is a located diagonally at the 38th parallel. And the DMZ has very tight security, and is why the North Korea and South Korea watch their own sides for oncoming attacks. And that is what divides North Korea into two parts. The DMZ is what was built by North Korea, South Korea, and the United Nations, and was in use by 1953. North Korea had become a communist, and South Korea had become democratic. So that is why North Korea and South Korea don't really get along. We also have received recent information that Harry S. Truman has fired Douglas MacArthur for good. So Truman had replaced him with Matthew Ridgway, and it has also been pretty interesting over all these years. Now, coming to Ireland for some recent information about the Vietnam War.
Thanks for that information, Logan. The Vietnam War is just around the corner. Follow the First Indochina War. Today, August 7, 1964, the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution was passed by United States Congress. Because of the Gulf of Tonkin incident, the leader of the Vietnamese people, Ho Chi Minh, wants the South to become communist. This is what is causing all this conflict. The outcome of this war will determine the Republic of South Vietnam. The Tet Offensive gave the U.S. and South Vietnam victory. Protests have broken out and are taking a huge plunge into violence. College campuses have been a big part. The SDS group is organizing most protests. After these short words, Tristan will be with you with information about the USSR.
Hi Warbot, today to help bring our troops home sooner. If you are wondering where the money goes that you donate, it goes to advance our military's weapons. When you buy a war bond, you will receive a picture of a troop member who you are helping support in the war. They will be notified that you are supporting them in this war. The war bond card has 20 stamps on it. The card costs $4 for a full card. One stamp is 25 cents. Some of the medals you can receive are their sharpshooter awards and their different accomplishments.
Today I'm going to take you back in history of the USSR. In 1917, the Russian Revolution started. Russia was in a state of crisis. Tsar doesn't want to change Russia, and later they industrialized. And after World War I, Tsar steps down from the throne. Then Lenin and the Bolsheviks take power. After they take power in 1924, Lenin dies, and then Stalin rises to power and controls their political moves. And when Stalin was in power, he had great purges, where if anyone who didn't agree with him, he would kill them, and some of them would be sent to gulags that were Russian concentration camps. Then in 1961, the Berlin Wall was put up because everyone was leaving to the west, so they had to stop them. In 1989, they broke it down. After the wall was broken in 1991, the Soviet Union broke up into 15 countries and everything collapsed, but soon after they started coming back and industrializing their country. Now here's Mary Delaney with information on the Cuban Missile Crisis.
The Cuban Missile Crisis, also known as the October Crisis, was a confrontation between the Soviet Union and Cuba. They fought on one side while the U.S. fought on the other side. This is the closest war that ever turned into a nuclear war. John F. Kennedy was involved in the Cuban Missile Crisis because he was the president at the time. He had an American U-2 spy plane took pictures of nuclear missile sites being built. He didn't want the Soviet Union or Cuba to find out he discovered the missiles. He tried to quarantine Cuba by putting a ring of ships around it. On October 22nd, he told the United States about what he discovered by television. Truman was the leader of the Soviet Union. He took a chance by putting nuclear missiles in Cuba. He was angered by the fact that U.S. had put military equipment in Turkey. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, he didn't give any indication that he was climbing down from Kennedy. This decision greatly weakened his political position. Fidel Castro was the prime leader of Cuba. After Castro gave the Soviet Union permission, they built nuclear missiles as fast as they could, trying to hide it from the U.S. The U.S. blockade took place during the Civil War and was maintained in effort of the Atlantic and Gulf Coast to prevent the trade goods, supplies, and army to be to and from the Confederacy. It prevented around 500 ships to get through the blockade.
Thanks, Mary. This is all we have for today.
Tune in next week when we get more information about the communism in China.
Thanks for watching N3WS News.